What is going on today, guys? Happy Tuesday. Today is June the 21st. What a massive move to the upside today was. Based on my projections last week, everything unfolded the way I thought it would. Today, the Dow, S&P, and Nasdaq all up over 2%, if I'm not mistaken. As you guys can see here in after hours, we did have a slight pullback. Nothing too significant. I think it's just a cool off from today's massive move to the upside. Um, Overall projections heading into tomorrow and the rest of the week, I do see us continuing a rally. Obviously, seeing the red here isn't too much of a good sign going with that prediction, but anything can change before market opens. So this is obviously low volume exchange for futures, and I mean it's uh, heavily manipulated. So, but realistically, I do see another rally heading into tomorrow. Um, Doing a small recap on my holdings as of last week heading into today. I had SPY calls that for some reason didn't pump. They were a $400 strike price on June 27th expiration, and they just didn't pump. It was really an unfortunate situation because it's really tough when you do make a prediction and you obviously act upon it by buying calls or puts or whatever you're predicting, and it just doesn't go based on what's happening in the market, which today was a bullish run. I should have been making a solid return on those options, but it just didn't turn out that way. This market is very strange at times. It just that particular contract just didn't get the volume and attention. But there was the same contract 2 days later, expiration in June 29th, that pumped. It's just really weird stuff. That one went over like 50% plus on the day, and mine actually went down, and I had to stop out for a loss. So it kicked my ass today. I took profit on Affirm. Affirm is one I've been talking about heavily on my stock tweets. If you have me there, and also here, I talk about that one. It's a name that I'm absolutely in love with. I mean, if I could marry it, I mean, sign me up. I'm ready to do what I got to do. Trading that as much as I can, taking advantage of the dip opportunities and whatnot. What else did I have today? TBLT, another low floater that just didn't have any momentum. I will open that chart up just to show you guys and explain to you why it dipped so much. It just didn't have any momentum and it was bleeding to the downside, so I had to stop out. As you guys can see, oil did have a pullback. These past few days, we're all the way back down to 108 a barrel. 120 was holding for a considerable amount of time in that range between 115 plus, and obviously that support was broken, which can happen at any time. Any type of news regarding, maybe demand estimates aren't going to be there, which is absurd because demand is at an absolute all-time high. We're in summer months. I mean, every gas station you see is north of 650 a gallon, which is absolutely absurd. So the demand is obviously there. There's still obviously supply concerns because of the Russia sanctions and all the unrest around the world and the uncertainty. So realistically, I do see oil having another massive move to the upside, but I mean, only time will tell, guys. It's a heavily manipulated commodity as well as most of everything in the markets. It's heavily manipulated by big buyers and all these guys, and whoever tells you that it's not is talking, or is full of shit because that's plain and simple what it is. We are smaller investors, smaller traders that are just trying to ride the waves of the big boys. So um, it's obviously a slippery slope. It's a tough fight, but it's obviously you can make good money just as long as you stick to your plan and execute your strategies and whatnot. Just but basically trade momentum. If you're trading, just trade momentum right now. The market, it's hard to determine obviously the movement, but my prediction from last week, having that bullish move into today, came true. And I mean, it's like I said, it's really frustrating because my options just did not pump and everything else did, which absolutely makes no sense to me. But you live and you learn. You win some, you lose some, and overall finished a little red on the day, but affirm profits definitely helped out with minimizing that. Like I said, guys, make sure to check out the stock twits. Posting here as much as I can and giving you guys as much analysis as possible. And yeah, without further ado, let's get it. Jumping on into the SPY. We closed. I'm not entirely sure where at. I think about around 374. And what a really nice bounce back it was from those low 360s that we saw last week. As you guys can see, what an absolute massive move to the downside from those 400s level, from the 400s all the way down to low 460s. And honestly, guys, we don't know what the for certain bottom is. Even if we have a consolidation, few days consolidating in a general price range, maybe from the 370s to 380s. Realistically, nothing is a guarantee anymore. This market is just in I don't know. It's either going to oblivion or we're gonna, see brighter days. I mean, obviously, I personally want to, have a bullish sentiment on the market. I want to see, buying pressure step back in and send this thing. But it's obviously it's a really tough decision right now, just because of all the volatility and the ups and downs. It's just been absolutely insane as of late. So, I mean, realistically, short term swinging is the most sustainable thing to do just because of, you never know if the market's just going to completely free fall one day, but then the next day it just goes right up and rallies. So, it's more for me personally, my advice is it's more sustainable to have short-term swings in names that you believe in and keep your, obviously your watch list simple. Don't try to overtrade. Don't try to do too much. Don't have FOMO because you can lose it all in a heartbeat. And we don't want that. We want to minimize losses. We want to focus on trading names that we believe in, and that's the bottom line. So, I mean, with the SPY, like I said, guys, I had those SPY calls from last week that I did call. I did give you guys that alert last week. So if you profited on SPY calls, cheers, guys. Drinks on me. We partying, we turning it up, and enjoying the vibes. So yeah, Spy, really nice bounce back today, and like I showed you guys, futures are turning red, but realistically, I do see another move to the upside heading into tomorrow, but nothing is for certain. Nothing is for certain at all. That's why just protect your ass, keep your stop losses and whatnot, and that's really all that you can do. And as you guys can see, market did turn a bit red heading into after hours. And what you guys will see with UVXY, the bearish ETF on the market, is it rallied back to the upside a little bit. Today, not much price action, just kind of floating around the low 15s range. And heading into close, moved up to those low 15s, 1580, 15 or high 15, sorry, in the 1580s, 1590s. And I mean, guys, if the market continues in a downtrend, this is heading to $17 tomorrow. This is heading to 17 plus tomorrow. So if you're a UVXY trader and you have this name on watch and keep an eye on it heavily, I mean, this is going to go to 17 tomorrow if we see that downtrend again. If we see Personally, if we do see a downtrend tomorrow, I do see us retesting the 370 level and possibly breaking lower. I mean, if there's like I said, there's nothing guaranteed. We can see that. We can see that little that little price point being broken at 370, and then the floodgates open from there because who knows what the bottom's going to be. But like I said, short-term swinging, it doesn't hurt to dip your feet in the water and put some money into names that you believe in, and seeing what unfolds. UVXY, I really do believe in this name. I mean, it's a great bearish ETF to play both sides. Obviously, if market is rallying, this is a good name to short or have put options on it. And I mean, there's just so much opportunity. So, make sure just seize the opportunity just play the market direction. Market has buying pressure to the upside. We're going to see this come back down. So, personally, I still see this dropping before we head up to the next leg, but it's just so hard to predict at this current stage in the market. It's just really tough. So at the end of the day, it's it's a lot of he said, she said, what's going to happen and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we just have to play what the momentum is giving us and what the market is giving us. So UVXY buying pressure to the upside. This is going to drop, and I'm personally I'm a buyer under 14, under 14, under 13 range. I do see that possibly coming into play. So and obviously start accumulating shares in that range and play that move back to the upside. But only time will tell. We'll see. We'll see what unfolds tomorrow. Moving on over to Tesla, what a massive move to the upside. A lot of green names have been moving big time. This one, Mullen, NIO, Rivian, another one that I've talked about many times on my page, is another great name that's just completely tearing to the upside from those all-time lows territories. I mean, some of the names were absolutely desecrated to the downside. So if you seize the opportunity and bought those dips and are swinging them, hats off to you, because many opportunities to buy dips and make a sizable amount of profit. Tesla had a very nice move to the upside today. Went, I believe, just a shade under 730, and obviously a sell-off into after hours, but still well up over that $700 range. My whole take on Tesla, like I've been talking about, is accumulate anything under 700. Anything under 700, if you have the capital, just load it up and just wait, because this is a powerhouse. This is a name that's not going anywhere. If you're a long-term investor, obviously, you don't got to worry about any of it. I mean, it's all gonna work out in the end. Tesla's not going anywhere. They're such a diversified company, and they've implanted themselves in so many different sectors. And I mean, they're the powerhouse. They are the backbone of the EV. And I mean, realistically, this is going to have a massive move back to the upside, potentially back up to those all-time highs in the coming months, in my opinion. Because realistically, there's so much recession talk. There's so much talk regarding we're going to see more massive moves. Realistically, we don't know. I mean, it's hard to determine. You can look at the indicators, you can look at all the analysis, but realistically, if we have buying pressure and the big buyers are sending it north, then I mean that's what's going to happen. That's just how it goes. As long as we have that buying pressure to the north side, there's we're going to see a green days on the horizon. So obviously everyone has that big capital R word in mind. So, obviously protect yourself in case, the SPY does dump and, the entire market does dump. So, keep that in mind, guys. But Tesla is one of those names. Just continue to accumulate under the 700 level. Jumping on over to my one and only holding heading into tomorrow is AFRM. Really nice price action today. I did have like a 17, I believe it was 17.25 average, and ended up selling right under $20 today. So really nice profit. It definitely sliced into my losses that I had on my options, which I shouldn't have had. But let's stop talking about that. A finance company that I really do believe in. I love the volatility in the name in terms of the price action. The reasoning behind why the price action is so volatile, it does have 75% plus owned by institutions, so they dictate most of the price action. But in general, this is one of those names that I really do love the volatility. A really strong market cap, well over I believe 5 billion in market cap. A legitimate company. They had great earnings recently a month ago. All-time lows was in that high 13s range, as you guys can see here in early May. So, this was one of those that it was just absolutely brutalized to the downside by the hedges that own it. They obviously shorted it, and then everyone's panic selling, stop loss raids, all that good stuff. So they got it all the way down to 13 and ended up rallying all the way back to 30. So as you guys can see here, we had another pullback into those mid 16s right in this range, and we bounced right off of that. And I called this range like spot on. I was buying all up in that all up in that area between the 1675 to 1750 range, and it turned out to be a banger. So as you guys can see, obviously it's sold off heading into after hours. Market weakness and people just dumping their shares. Um, I'm holding this name. I do see us jump as long as the market is green. I do see us touching 22 tomorrow. And obviously, if we have buying pressure, I do see much higher in the next few days after that, after tomorrow. So keep a firm on watch. One that I heavily believe in. One of the few names that I'm trading right now heavily. And yeah, guys, let's obviously hope that we're gonna see some Green Day tomorrow. Moving on over to IMPP, this is what I've been talking about many times. I do see this having another run to the upside with oil strength returning. We've been floating in that 54, 55 cent range today. Not a lot of price action, honestly. It was kind of refreshing to see that this was just kind of chilling today. Nothing too drastic to the upside or the downside. So, I mean, overall, it's nice to see. I mean, as you guys can see, zooming out, it's been absolutely all over the place as of recently. So, that's way back in April. Let's just focus on, in this general month. As you guys can see, it's been all over the place. And after that 38 cent low, this is where I initially started buying and ended up selling a little prematurely, but nice profit on this name. Um, any type of profit is good. It doesn't really matter the amount. Anything green is good. Just always have that mentality. Am I a buyer of IMPP personally? Yes, just as long as we have pressure to the upside in crude. Well, that this is the main dictator whether or not I buy oil plays or not. Now we've been having this pullback, and is this the bottom? I don't know yet. I want to just see how this plays out in the next few days before I take any position in any oil plays. We have anything regarding any type of supply issues, which I mean there obviously is, but there was questions regarding whether the demand is actually there or not, which is kind of absurd to me. Obviously, manipulation to pull it back to the downside, but um, there's obviously a lot more to it than just that. But I'm just giving a little bit of surface level, not too in detail. But overall, I do want to see us regain that 110 level and push back north before I even consider getting back into a play like IMPP. So keep it on watch. I'm gonna be talking about. I'm obviously gonna be talking about crude heading into tomorrow and see how the buying pressure is. Last and final name gonna talk about. I was talking about this, I believe, a few weeks ago. This is one that I did take a sizable loss on, which it's all about practicing what you preach, and I really haven't been doing that for myself. I haven't been patient. I've just been pretty silly with some plays that I've gotten into. This was one that just absolutely got desecrated to the downside by insider shorting, as you guys can see. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, this is obviously. Uh, a new name that I'm going to be talking about. But if you've been here, I was talking about this about the insider shorting and that I had a position on it pretty massively and ended up stopping out because I just couldn't sit there and watch as money kept bleeding because it just continued to go down for the next few days. But as you guys can see, we closed right at the 330 mark, which is, I mean, massive considering where we bottomed out right in like the 220 range. And I mean, to 330, that's a pretty significant move back to the upside. Um, it's there's a lot of sketchiness, a lot of weirdness in this whole move. That what it really had me on edge. It really had me a little unnerved. Realistically, I should have waited a few days before taking any type of position here, but I got a little too eager, got a little too trigger happy, and made a position here. But at the end of the day, all I want to do, for you guys is be transparent about my mistakes and give you more insight on the decision making that I've been doing, and realistically whether it's good or not, I do want to be honest with you guys. So I did take a loss on this, and realistically, I should have been holding the bottom line. So if you're in a play heavily and you believe in the company, which I did have a strong belief here, considering that it is such a low float name and that it's had a track record of slowly regaining back to the upside. As you guys can see, if you zoom back out in the chart, this is what it does. It goes off low volume for a few days, and then it just continues to the upside. So honestly, I should have held. Kicking myself a little, but licking my wounds, keeping it moving. That's really all we can do. If you guys are in on this name, I do see a lot more potential here. It's a short squeezer. I mean, this thing should short squeeze way high, and obviously we see this move back to the upside because shorts are covering. Um, but we see massive volume come in. This thing can move quick, so keep an eye on this name IMTE, extremely volatile. Quick recap, guys. We talked about the SPY. We talked about UVXY. We talked about Tesla, AFRM, IMPP, IMTE, and a few notable mentions to keep on watch is Boyle and Cold. Natural gas has been a little bit all over the place as of recent times. Cold is holding that $30 range very nicely. It's moved up from when I was alerting it when it was $20. So 50% move right there. Really nice move to the upside here. It was kind of inevitable we were going to see a pullback on natural gas. It was just way too inflated. If you look on the chart, there was something called a head and shoulders that was forming, um, and eventually it came back to the downside. Completed the head and shoulders pattern and just came right back to the downside. So now in Boyle, we are at the $66 mark. Um, any type of supply concerns, again, this commodity with any type of supply concerns, we're going to see Boyle head right back to the upside. But realistically, it bounced back from those lows of 60s today pretty nicely. So there's obviously there's a lot of buyers stepping in right around this range, and we get anything in relation to supply issues, we can see this jump again. So keep Boyle on watch, keep Cold on watch. If we have any bad news on natural gas, we could see Cold head to the moon. It's been obviously desecrated to the downside. If you guys look at the chart, it's had a reverse split and all that stuff. So there's a lot of room for the cold to run as well. So obviously stay vigilant and keep an eye on that stuff. If you do enjoy this content, please do subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you want more live, up-to-date opinions on stock plays and whatnot, come check me out on Stock Twits. Everything's free. Do it all for you guys. And I hope you guys have had a profitable day today. I don't want to blabber too much, but yeah, that's really all I have for you guys today. Prediction tomorrow is we are going to see another market rally, but uh, it's hard to predict anything nowadays. Let's just make sure we protect ourselves in case things do go south according to our predictions. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.